What is serial printing? You have to send information from your Arduino to your computer. Today we're just going to register a button, press on the Arduino. So the aim is when we press the button and then we print on this. There we go, the button has been pressed. To code our button on our Arduino up so that when you press it, it prints a message to our computer. Now, first things first, where is this message going to print to? You come up here to Tools, and then you click on Serial Monitor. When we print our messages, this is where it will show up. So I'm going to start by defining the button. So I'm going to say int button equals pin 6. In void setup, I'm going to say pin mode button, and then set that as an input. Serial command. So we have to set up the serial print in our void setup. So we say serial with a capital S dot begin, and then we have brackets and a semicolon. And inside these brackets here, we write a number. I'm going to write 9,600. Now, the number we write here is what's known as a baud rate. Like that. The number of bits of data sent every second, a standard baud rate for the Arduino serial port. So if we look at our serial monitor, when we open our serial monitor up, you see down here that you can set the baud rate to a number of different levels. You have to make sure that the baud rate is set to the same as, if I change the baud rate of our serial monitor to a different value than our void setup, you'll see it comes out with complete rubbish. So if I change that back to 9,600, we get what we're expecting. Now we've set up the serial port, we're going to create a print that prints only once during the void setup loop, because so we're going to set that up now. And you say serial with a capital S dot print, and then I'm going to say ln, and what that stands for is new line. So if you don't have that, it will print everything on the same line, ln, and then we're going to open and close our brackets and semicolon. Now inside the brackets, we're going to open and close our quotation marks, and then anything we write inside our quotation marks will be printed in English. I'm going to write hello world. What we want is when we press the button, we want it to print the button has been pressed. So we're going to use an if statement. So we say if the digital read of the button is equal to high, pressed, then we're going to open and close our square brackets. And then we're going to say serial.print again. We're going to say ln, because open our brackets, open our quotation marks, say the button has been pressed, exclamation mark. Then we're going to close our quotation marks, close our brackets, and then semicolon to end the line of code. So now if we upload that, we're going to go to Tools, Serial Monitor, make sure that the baud rate is at the same rate that we've set, and we see the first thing that prints is hello world, which is what we've said here. So now if I press the button, it should print the button has been pressed. So there we go, it's printing. When I press the button, it's saying the button has been pressed. And if we wanted to only print that once, we would add a little delay here, which stops it printing loads of times. So now if we take another look at it, serial monitor, hello world, there you go, every time I press the button now it prints once. If I hold the button down, it will keep printing every 400 milliseconds. If we don't have this ln in here, basically it won't start a new line, so it's just going to print everything. Monitor it says hello world, as it should, and then it's just going to keep printing everything on the same. So that's why we use ln here. So far is how to use quotation marks to print. So we can also print values of either sensors or things like buttons. So what I'm going to do now is code it up so our serial monitor is continuously printing the value of the button. So it will print at 0 if the button hasn't been pressed, and at 1 if the button has been pressed. So this is useful for checking the values of sensors. So we're going to get rid of that first off, and up the top we're going to create a new integer or button value. We're not going to assign it a number like we have up here. All we're doing is saying that button value is an integer or a number. If you didn't set this up the top, when you try to compile your code, or when you try to upload your code, it would say button value was not declared in the scope, and it just means that the Arduino software doesn't know if it's a number or a character. Or so button value is equal to the digital read of the button. The button value is going to be either 1 or 0 depending on the digital read of the button. So if we run this code and we say button value equals to the digital read of button, and we're not pressing the button, then button value is going to be equal to 0. If we are pressing the button, then button value is going to be equal to 1. So that's simple binary. If this value is high, then it's going to be 1. If this value is low, it's going to be 0. So then we're going to say serial.print ln, because then we open the brackets, and normally we'd have these quotation marks, but in this instance we're just going to write button value like that, and then we're going to add a delay because otherwise it would print really fast. So we're going to upload that to open the serial monitor. So we can see it's printing zeros because I'm not pressing the button. So now if I press the button, I'm going to start printing ones. If I let go, it's going to start printing zeros, and that's because it's printing button value. So if we press it again, it's going to go 1. If I let go, it's going to go 0 again. And there you go. So that's how to use the serial port to print the value of a sensor, which in this case is just a simple button. But you could also use it to print the values of an analog read, which is a bit more complicated. And I'm going to go over that in the next tutorial.